TV.
Introducing first to my right from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 201 pounds, he's the cream in your coffee, your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, the Jewish Cannon, the physical embodiment of charisma, the Bernie Sanders of professional wrestling, the most entertaining man in professional wrestling, Mr. American Rana, Davey Wrestling,
Good.
the 100
This dude that's doing cameras, great. 100 people watching on Facebook, 100 some on YouTube.
Twitter, he is the ace of Beyond Wrestling.
Debatable.
The king of taunts, the product, David Starr! His opponent to my left, fighting out of National Park, New Jersey, weighing in today at 210 pounds, representing that murder, death, kill gang, Eastern Bloc, Hate Club, gang affiliated, MDK, all fucking day, the man, the king, Nick fucking
DC and Crockett going to be calling the main event here, the Beyond Wrestling Powerbomb pregame. It's November 26, 2017. We're here at Electric Haze in Worcester, Massachusetts, at least until the Cups come.
David Starr calls himself the Bernie Sanders of professional wrestling. I don't ever remember Bernie Sanders being in a predicament such as this.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders barbed wire match. You know, I don't really, I'm not too into the political stuff as David Starr now. It's going to be very, very careful right here. We saw Nick Gage go almost 20 minutes with Jonathan Gresham last night as part of the Powerbomb TV special Was Up, a last-minute replacement for Jody Fleisch, who had injured his leg the night before in Cleveland. And I think, if anything, Nick Gage proved last night that he can do it all. But the one intangible that Nick Gage may have over David Starr is that he's as tough as they come. Toughest, scariest guy I've ever met.
And fears nothing.
Fears nothing. He just opened a wrestling school, the Game Changer Compound, with Homicide. Imagine being trained by Homicide and Nick Gage.
This looks like the warm-up session at that school, I think.
Just goes to show you, though, even though Nick Gage is known primarily for his accolades in the deathmatch wrestling scene, I mean, David Starr, is one of the most accomplished technical wrestlers, and instead, he just sent Nick Gage hurling into a barbed wire board.
And Gage brought out all the toys, and David Starr was the first one to utilize them. That actually surprises me.
That just goes to show you how desperate David Starr is. And when the barbed wire becomes a factor, you've got to be very careful. Oh, God. Nick Gage is all tangled up already. And you kind of wonder, is David Starr, I mean, Nick Gage has at least done his best to cover himself up. He's got the GCW logo emblazoned on his chest. He's ready for war as he's got those camouflage pants on. But David Starr came into this no disqualification matchup with regular ring attire.
Going through one of those boards like that with barbed wire would put out, I think, 90% of the men in professional wrestling, and Nick Gage is up.
Because, dude,
he's
at that point, when you're in that much pain, that's where you're beat mentally. Physically, maybe you are capable of kicking out, but you don't want to endure that pain any further. That's when you lay down for the count. And I don't know if David Starr's prepared for that today. I got to think that one taste of that barbed wire, he's going to be done. But what is David Starr going for right here?
You're going to be kidding me.
What did he put out of the ring? That's a jar of thumbtacks.
We have a staple gun, some chairs, some barbed wire tables, and that's not enough, apparently.
Well, maybe David Starr came into this matchup with a very specific plan.
The last time Tax came into this building, Matt Riddle ended up walking through them. So we're not unfamiliar with this, but it's very surprising to see David Starr go for this bag of tricks this early.
Sure, of course. Just a couple months ago, too, we saw Matt Tremont versus Ace Romero in a 15,000 thumbtack match, which was broadcast live on the Powerbomb TV pregame. So, yeah, like you said, I don't know. Something happens with these Beyond Wrestling shows here in Worcester. It's like a lawless land. It's David Starr. Gonna think he took too much time. Oh, no. And Nick Gage making a pay for it with that Uranagi.
And it's getting bloody and violent already.
It's in his ass and his crotch.
It's the last place you want that
this,
tax.
Like that's enough to give up the match, I think.
Oh no.
Uh-oh, Nick Gage giving David Starr a mouthful of thumbtacks. Oh! That'll cut up the inside of your mouth. God forbid you swallow one. The referee Kevin Quinn not prepared for this, only now taking out his gloves.
And he almost didn't make the count. He looked afraid to even hit the mat.
I think that if we would have known there was thumbtacks, that the official would have been given protective gear for his knees and his eyes. I mean, but this has certainly escalated quickly.
Nick Gage already bleeding from the elbow and probably doesn't even notice it, doesn't even care.
Dude, unfortunately, I hate to say it, not to downplay the significance of this matchup, but I'm sure with all the time that Gage spent in prison, this is like a walk in the park. This is his wheelhouse.
Absolutely, and I don't know if David Starr is mentally prepared, because it's one thing to know who you're going in there against. It's another when you get in there and it's actually happening.
Of course. As Gage looks to escalate David Starr on that top turnbuckle, you got to think he's going to be looking for a suplex from the heavens, taking him down to hell. Be not only through that barbed wire board, but also through the thumbtacks.
I hope we have some EMTs in the house.
I mean, we have like a first aid kit.
Huh. Okay.
Oh! Nick Gage bleeding from the top of his head, but it might be David Starr that's going to have to go to the hospital. Not only the impact on that barbed wire board, but he landed on one of those chairs. And just even an uneven landing like that can pop a bone out of place. And I mean, if you can't use your arms or legs, you can't defend yourself against Nick Gage with a falcon arm into the barbed wire and the thumbtacks.
That had to be instinct. I don't know what other way he could have kicked out of that. That had to be instinct.
David Starr's holding his hand. I hope that he taped up his wrists well. I mean, Nick Gage was legally dead for about 10 minutes because of a cut that he suffered underneath his armpit at a Tournament of Death, where he had to go in the helicopter to the hospital. They had to revive him due to blood loss because he severed an artery under his armpit. I mean, I do not like matches like this.
Well, that's why the scratches on his arm and in his head, like you said, walk in the park for him. And I don't know what he could possibly come up with next, because he put Starr through a chair and a barbed wire board with tacks.
Oh, you see Starr's back all bloodied up now. But telling you, man, this is the match he's been asking for 2 years. Gage was just trying to take a bite out of David Starr. Looking to suplex him in the ring now, trying to find leverage by placing his foot on the bottom rope. Starr doing the same to block. Uh-oh.
And Starr fighting with everything he has left in his body to not go in again.
Oh, shit!
Gage's head bounces off like a basketball.
And David Starr's feeling it right now.
I don't know if Gage knows where he is right now. This is Starr's opportunity. He better take it.
David Starr, the self-proclaimed ace of Beyond Wrestling. Joey Janela would probably like to have a word with him. He's competing in the UK for the entire month of November. Interesting that Joey Janela and David Starr have not been competing on the same shows here in Beyond Wrestling since American Rana 17. And just like that, I mean, you saw David Starr, how much trouble he had just finding his footing because there's thumbtacks. They almost act like little marbles when you're trying to plant yourself. He couldn't even... he didn't get all that side slam. Am I crazy?
And no, you're not. But do you think David Starr is competing in these style of matches to prove something to Joey Janela, that he can do it all as well?
I mean, that's certainly going to be something, whether or not it's subconscious or otherwise, that's going to be driving David Starr. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the next time that we're going to see David Starr and Joey Janela in the same building at the same time is going to be just about a couple weeks from today in Melrose, Massachusetts, Sunday, December 10th, Beyond Wrestling Cold Brew. It's going to be David Starr versus Walter for the first time in the United States, Joey Janela versus Keith Lee for the first time in the United States. That's if David Starr survives Nick Gage today, who is looking to size up David Starr and go punch for punch with him. I don't think that David Starr wants to do it.
Oh, no.
What?
Staple gun. Are they going to have a duel at 10 paces?
I don't understand this at all.
Well, I think insanity has slipped into both of these men's minds.
This is like, they wouldn't even do this in Jackass.
Oh!
Come on. Nick Gage not even flinching. Nick Gage is getting more and more powerful.
This is like feeding Popeye spinach to Nick Gage.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about flinching. Yeah, David Starr better be lucky he doesn't get both of his eyelids stapled shut.
Oh, no! Kevin Quinn's been hit.
I'm telling you, these guys seem to be wearing goggles.
Luckily, we have a second referee at ringside.
Oh! Bad landing. And Nick Gage eating the brunt of that with that bloodied up elbow.
I don't know why David Starr's not going for a cover. I would want to get out of here as fast as possible.
It's as simple as that. He's hurt. He is hurt. When the thumbtacks get introduced this early in the match, there's not a position that you can find in the ring where you're going to be safe from landing in them. David Starr is hurt. Nick Gage is also hurt. Kevin Quinn is hurt. Kevin Quinn, though, at least, I mean, Nick Gage just shot a staple gun at him, and Kevin Quinn still had the wherewithal to check to see if he could continue, so.
Now what's he asking for? He's cutting the barbed wire off the board now. He got some pliers that referee Kevin Quinn had just in case somebody got tangled up.
God forbid the match couldn't continue because these two competitors were entangled in the barbed wire, but, you know, one of the, I don't know. It's a barbed wire board. It's not just free barbed wire. You can't just...
And I think David Starr is finding something within himself that I don't even think he had as far as mentally being able to go to that next level. Look at, he's hurting himself just to get another weapon.
David Starr, he's just putting he's ripping at barbed wire right now. He's out of his mind.
Not since Sabu in the 90s have I seen something like this.
David Starr keeps pulling away at this barbed wire. What is he trying to prove right here?
I think he's going for the...
He's cutting up his hands.
He has to be going for the kill.
I mean, that could have been a weapon that could have been used against Nick Gage. This is really starting to get uncomfortable here. As David Starr has pulled away the barbed wire board next to Nick Gage.
And I think he just said he's going to murder him now.
Well, David Starr obviously not having enough strength in his hand with his hand all cut up. I mean, this tunnel vision is really could go back to cost him right here. I don't understand the purpose of trying to free this barbed wire.
And just to add a little insult to injury, a couple more staples to the head.
David Starr continues to try and tear away at that barbed wire. I'm telling you, man, you don't want to give somebody like Nick Gage this much time to recover.
And I think he has some better ones.
I don't think the officials should be assisting David Starr here, though.
Finally got it out. And I wonder what is on his mind now.
Why not just take that and just stab Nick Gage in the head, just send him right to the hospital? He's got a full spindle of barbed wire right here.
Oh, he's gonna put it. No. No. Oh, he's choking him.
Oh, well, heavy lies the crown. So does bloody lies the crown, I guess, here today. As,
Where's that fucking crimson mask, huh? I'm Mr. fucking King. Are you a fucking king? I don't think so, motherfucker. David Starr kicking your fucking ass. Yeah!
Nick Gage firing back. No. Star's choking him with the barbed wire, hurting his own
he's got to
forearm
be careful. He
doing
has to
it.
cut his own armpit.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Damn, an elbow to the back of the head. Oh, the brain buster on the knee with his face wrapped in barbed wire. And now David Starr is choking the life out of Nick Gage. Nick Gage's got to get a hand underneath there.
And Kevin Quinn might need to stop this himself.
He's asking Gage to talk to him. Is Gage responding? He's holding on.
He's fucking dead.
And
Kevin Quinn
Quinn
used
had
the proper discretion to end the matchup. That was gross. That was completely uncalled for.
And if Joey Janela thinks he's the only one that can take it to the next level, David Starr just proved him wrong.